Hello everyone. As promised, I'm putting together the 3 videos to go through the assignments for this course this term. Initially we had four assignments for the term, but given the circumstances from last semester, I have condensed some of the assignment requirements into 3 assignments rather than 4, because I know some of you are dealing still with the repercussions from last term. Assignment number 1 is going to focus on basic concepts of active records management. So I'm looking over here because I'm looking at my screen, and I'm actually looking at the assignment requirements as they were uploaded to our course environment. Assignment number 1 is due on February the 10th, 2018 by midnight. It's worth 20% of the final grade and has the following questions, or includes the following questions. Question 1, identify which of the following are official records, transitory records, or non-records. You can answer this question in a chart where you've got the types of records listed along one column, and then you've got records, transitory records, non-records, and you can do check marks and tell me which is which. Now, some of them you might need to have a little bit of an explanation to provide a rationale as to why you think they are what they are. But for others, they're pretty straightforward. A signed contract. B, an email confirming that you'll be attending a routine staff meeting. C, a telephone message slip. D, signed copies of paper timesheets used to enter employee data into a payroll system. E, a share certificate for a company. F, an unfinished draft of a report saved to be worked on again the next day. G, a draft of a report submitted for review or approval. Or H, a box of unused forms. This is out of 8 altogether. There are 8 items. Question 2, explain the difference between a record and a non-record. Give examples. This is worth 6 points. So 4 for your explanation, of the difference between the two, and 2 for the examples. In your explanation, please ensure that you include transitory records. It's a type of record. Please include it. Question 3. What is a record series? Really important concept for records managers. Give an example of a typical record series that would be found in many organizations, other than the examples used in the course notes or in the lecture. This is out of 6. 3 essentially is 3 or 4 is for describing what a record series is. You might also use the phrase retention schedule in your definition of a record series. You could go into characteristics or common elements that we see in a record series as well. And in your common or typical record series that we see in any organization, I want you to think of the common functions we find in every organization and the kind of records that they produce, those functions produce. So things like human resources, facilities management, all of those functions produce records that pretty much every organization that has a building and people have to have. Question 4 is your scenario. Every assignment is going to have a case study or a scenario. It's a real life example of how to apply what we're learning in the course to a situation that I've either gone through personally or something that's typical within records management. So the scenario in question 4 here is you've been hired on contract with a charity organization that's never had a records manager on staff. Your first task is to create a retention schedule. What retention schedule type will you use? Is it organization-based or function-based? Why did you choose that kind of retention schedule? In your discussion, include any references to operational or legislative requirements as appropriate. Provide examples for 5 record types of what the record series would look like in your retention schedule. So keep in mind, this is asking you to do 2 different things. So it's asking you to provide a retention schedule with 5 different record types, 5 record series, and it's asking you to give an explanation. Why did you make the choices that you made in putting that retention schedule together? So you are going to have to look a little bit online. I recommend focus on Canadian charity organization requirements. Have a look at the CRA, the Canadian Revenue Agency, because they have specific requirements for charity organizations. The response to this question should be about a page and a half. You can do the retention schedule in terms of formatting in a bunch of different ways. I highly recommend a chart or in some form of standardized format so that each record series looks the same, and ensure that you've got the same elements within each of those retention record series. So have a look at the course notes. It's going to let you know what elements you're going to need in that. Now that one is out of 20. The total is out of 40. It's 20% of your final mark. In the assessment guidelines, your creative thinking and the content is about 75% of where your mark is going to come from, but the remaining 25% is coming from communication. A lot of the work we do as records managers really relies on our communication skills. Now, this is written communication, verbal communication, which definitely means sentence structure, grammar, spelling. So please use spell check and have someone proofread yourself proofread your work before you submit it. Submit it before midnight on the due date, which my fast key doesn't work if it's in the environment, the course, which is on February 10th, and I look forward to seeing your work. If you have questions, you can ask in a chat prior to the assignment due date. You can ask on the discussion boards, and you can always send me an email through the course environment. Good luck.